Hello everybody, welcome back to Language Litigation Integration Part 104, Not My Carnage. I think I made an episode called Not My Problem, same type of deal. Talking about, I'll be responding to 3 Patrick Bet David podcasts, talking about oil in Ukraine and Russia, other talking points in current events, and maybe some stories. First and foremost, does education limit violence? Yes or no? In any context, gangbangers, husband and wives, wars. Does education limit violence? Yes, it does. So therefore, people restricting education are causing violence. And so, a lot of people talk like, the good old days is way better when. This country, this humanity has failed so tremendously and tragically. Like, again, who cares? Go for World War III, blow up fucking everybody. Honestly, at this point, again, as somebody that's trying to, I can't even act like I care about fucking anything. But as a practical person to say, what is the most useful thing for humanity? It is to make people mature faster. And again, this isn't me just willy-nilly saying stuff. This is 20 years of watching this at every facet of everything. 4-person family, every community I've ever been, every group of people I've ever been exposed to. 4-person family to a literal war, and no one gives a fuck. Because they can't. Everyone's 14-year-old and they like carnage. They don't feel responsibility for the carnage, it's interesting. So again, you'll get on LinkedIn, you'll get on Reddit, and you'll see people saying, well, what about this bombing over here in Yemen, or this bombing over here in Africa? Yeah, all carnage is bad thing, guys, but if you sit around and just post about it, you're all the fucking problem. Every single dirty motherfucking human being that does that is the fucking problem. 20 years running, I've been saying the same fucking shit. Again, I was on my last leg when I was fucking 15. I want my money, I want the fuck out of here, and I don't give a fuck about anything else. I don't care. And genuinely, 99% of this fucking population was wiped the fuck off. Humanity would progress faster. Certainly not a call to violence, but as a practical standpoint, if people can't change, and they don't, there is just nothing else you can fucking do. Thinking about the people again, 4 million people die in the United States alone this year because people won't say take cannabis. And it's proven scientific fact. And so it's just like, I don't know what the fuck to say anymore. No one cares. Not my carnage, no one gives a fuck. So the first thing talking about for oil, just talking about where does oil come from. Oil is one of many fossil fuels, just things that are produced naturally in the earth. It takes a long time to produce it. It does renew, but it's not, people don't consider it renewable because it takes a long fucking time. But it comes from the earth. How do you get gasoline from crude oil? You distill it. There's a process called fractional distillation, which I've done many a times for cannabis. When I was running the oil extraction lab, cannabis oil extraction lab. But basically fractional distillation, you have a molecule that has a given boiling point, you boil it up to that point, you clear out all the stuff that boils there, and then you raise it to the 1 degree for whatever you're trying to isolate, and then you distill it that way. And so from distilling oil, fractionally distilling oil, you get gasoline, which I think is about 50%, I just looked this stuff up, but then you get kerosene, petroleum, and diesel fuel or something, just different hydrocarbons that have different boiling points. So that's how you get oil, that's how oil becomes gasoline. How does it become energy? Anything that's combustible, you burn it, the heat cranks a turbine, the turbine stores the energy on a capacitor or on the electrical grid somewhere. So that is how you get fuel, and that is how you get energy from oil. So, and currently 85%, I think it's like maybe 2018 estimate or something, I don't know the year, but currently 85% of energy comes from fossil fuels. Natural gas, oil, coal. But the first PBD, I watched 129 with Gianni Russo, number 130 with Jack Barksey. I watched both of those completely, and I just watched probably 90%, probably an hour and a half of 131 with Liz Wheeler. So the first one, we have Gianni Russo, who's like I watched the whole thing, I wasn't really sure, he was just like an interesting life story, somehow connected with some mob dudes, not a mob guy or something. Really wasn't even sure like what he would classify himself as, but like a businessman, I guess. But they talk about the concept of war crimes. I just have, if you have to have rules for war, you don't need a war. Period. You just don't. Again, to every world leader, Xi, Joe, Vlad, fucking Kim Jong-un, anybody, fucking anybody on this planet, from a grade school teacher that makes $40,000 a year to people who run world governments. The only legacy any human being besides me is leaving is how much did you slow down the progress of this fucking species. We're not going back, and again, it's the weirdest shit ever to see war strategy compared to World War II, which ended in 1945, which is almost 80 fucking years ago. 75 fucking years ago. We're going on a century and people are still talking like, this strategic move, this would be good for them, this would be good for them. Fucking grow up or fucking die. Actually fucking die. So again, Vlad, if you want to try to reestablish the Soviet Union and the greatness of Russia and restore or leave a great legacy of a great leader, do your fucking job and publish a fucking science paper. Stop blowing fucking people up. But again, if you need to cut war crimes, again, like, if I was a Ukrainian, I would cut the fucking stomachs of Russian soldiers. I'd fucking just slit them the fuck open and let them bleed the fuck out. When I see people giving them, like, tea and comforting them, I'd just blow them the fuck away. That's what I would fucking do. Just saw there was a law passed that any Ukrainians are allowed to kill Russians. I would certainly exercise my rights there. But, like I said, I don't feel bad for anyone. I'm not on the Ukraine side, I'm not on Russia's side, I'm on the don't do dumb shit side. And everybody is doing dumb shit constantly. It's all they can fucking do. It's all anybody has been able to do. Because people are taught to play sports all day, they're not taught critical thinking, and then they just fascinate. They just jerk off to dead people. Like Patrick Bet-David does. That's his entire how he got up. He'll say, oh, my whole thing was to give people a second chance. No, your whole fascination was to talk to people who've killed people, and that's interesting to your audience. That's your whole motivation, bro. But seriously, because they were talking about, like, have war crimes been committed? Like, honestly, like, having crime, the concept of war to me as a lawman, is just barnacles. If you aren't ready to slaughter fucking everybody, and you shouldn't be, because I'm not promoting that at all, in any fucking way. I'm saying my point is you don't need a fucking war. And again, you live in the age, this isn't 1942, this is 2022, where I list logical proofs faster than I can remember them as I'm emailing them to people. As I lecture for hours every fucking day. And so the only legacy anybody is leaving is how much did you slow down the progress of human beings, and the human beings in the future will judge you. When you die, God's not going to judge you, I'm not going to judge you, you're going to judge yourself in the context of the sentiment of the entire species. You think people in the past were more brutal than you? Think people in the past were more successful than you? As world leaders? So again, this species is stagnated, it is murdering people, which I don't care at all. I won't even act like I care about fucking dead bodies whatsoever. I care about my fucking life, which can't start because nothing can change. Absolutely never can fucking change. Never. But just comparing war strategy, again, like Patrick Bet-David and them, they like this shit, man. They're like, well, this would be good for Russia. Oh, we're all gonna burn and die. So get to it then. Start World War III, blow up the entire fucking species, and let's fucking get on with it. But Gianni Russo was one of the major characters in The Godfather. That's where he came from. That was his big establishing role. But he talks about taking stem cells. He's like, they show a clip of him from 3 years ago and a clip from him today. Definitely looks better today because it's like stem cells actually work. Like they actually certainly fucking work. But again, here in America we have freedom except for if it's healthcare. Then you can't take cannabis and you can't take stem cells. But you have the freedom to be defined and direct orders of biological law. So just again, Patrick Bet is a fucking raging fucking hypocrite. I haven't seen, where did Gerard Michaels go? Did he get reintegrated with his manatee colony? Is he back in the fucking ocean? I haven't seen that fat fuck in a while. They talk about the Keystone XL pipeline. And I just talked about the oil refining process. But just a pipeline from Canada to different places in America. I think it goes to like Texas and some other place, Nebraska or something. Some of the places have been built. Practically, and I looked into it, it seems like, the opposition to the Keystone XL pipeline is environmentalists. But it seems like pipelines are the most efficient way of transportation. You're never going to limit spillage in general. Obviously, spillage is bad. But you got to take care of your species fucking first. Also read that I've heard that opening the pipeline wouldn't lower gas prices. I doubt it. I don't see how that's possible with supply and demand. But practically, I would turn on the Keystone XL pipeline. I would. I'm pretty much anti-environmentalist as a technologist in most fucking cases. And certainly, again, because anything that sounds like woke culture, again, I rip on, again, if you're so stupid you have to associate to a political party, I'm just going to rip on you for being retarded anyway. But, again, I'm certainly not woke, certainly not on any political party, certainly don't like anything any side of the political aisle says whatsoever. But practically, from an environmentalist versus technologist, meaning, burning fossil fuels makes carbon, will filter it better, Just be practical, do stuff that makes sense. So if it would lower the prices, I absolutely would turn the thing on. Demand goes down too low, you get a recession. I don't care about fucking anything. I don't care about anyone's life. I just don't fucking care. That was really the only talking points from the Gianni Russo one. Then we have Jack Barksey, who was an ex-KGB agent. Barksey says Putin wasn't much of a KGB agent. He was more of a very good politician with some moderate training. It's not like, quote, it's not like the USA couldn't be a dictatorship. Again, comparing today to 80 years ago is stagnation. All of these old fucking pieces of fucking shit sitting around cranking off their fucking dicks to fucking death. Not my carnage. Well, it could be a dictatorship. Well, maybe it could be a better fucking world. Maybe it'd be fucking that if people said that. And did that, and worked for that. Maybe it would be fucking that. Maybe it would be that. Maybe we could have a world where I could have a family or make a fucking income if people would fucking behave. But they won't. So die the fuck off. Give me a fair fight, we can speed it up. Quote, history may be done with him, Putin. And that was PBD, and again, the legacy and history of human beings. History is done with every living, breathing, respirating human being besides me, period. Period. No one fucking behaves. No one enforces the law. I get antagonized every time I try to speak to another human being. Every time. 100% of the fucking time. How could educated people fall for propaganda? And they're talking about Nazis. The same way people that want freedom think cannabis and COVID measures are oppression. The same exact people, that is again, retarded once removed. Wow, how could educated scientists in the 1940s be on the Nazi side? How can you people be anti-cannabis? Well, it's so much a different mindset. No, it's not. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Just, again, it's so slow. Everything's so fucking slow because everything's so fucking stupid. But the way people fall for propaganda is the same way people don't advocate cannabis and COVID measures because they're defiant little whiny children. Defiant little whiny children. They manipulate data, they form narratives like Russell Brand is an absolute fucking kook. They form the narratives and they say, well, the narrative's falling apart about the COVID. No, it just isn't. You're trying to form a narrative to get your 5 million views. Russell Brand, fuck you, fuck your life, fuck your health, die off. I watched some old interview with you, Russell Brand. Again, I love all you fucking famous actors and shit. Again, in the 80s, you guys want to be the mobsters, you just be the pussies again, jerking off, fascinated by the lifestyle. Absolute motherfucking pussies. But then patriotism versus humanism, motivation for spies. Again, Barksey's talking about how people from Russia or China come to America, have a better quality of life, but still feel like they're doing the right thing. So again, in the long run, humanism, there's only one race, there's only one species. Well, there's a lot more species, but speciality is limited by species. And we should care about human beings over our fucking countries, with imaginary lines. But again, they talk about United States, amount of spies going from the United States and European Union to the Communist Party, to China or to Russia, or vice versa. Obviously, and I agree with Barksey, again, I'm not KGB or intelligence community at all, but certainly the CCP in Russia would have more spies everywhere. And he makes a good point about being, higher quality of, going from a lower quality of life to a higher quality of life and doing some patriotic action. But again, humanity is just whiny children that literally cannot grow up. And then if people love carnage, they don't feel any responsibility for. That's why Patrick Bet-David interviews every mobster he can, and that's why his main channel uploads shootings every single fucking day, multiple times a fucking day. Because again, if you're not going to start the war, well, you're going to strategize the war. Patrick Bet-David is going to strategize the war. We could all just grow up. We could actually just do that. We could actually just stop slaughtering one another. And the thing that does that is education. Countries that don't like the USA for being the big bully, Barksy talks about how maybe like French or Germans don't really have an affinity for the United States for being arrogant bullies, which they are. Yeah, don't forget when we invaded Afghanistan after blowing up our own buildings, and I don't say we, I mean you guys, I try to be, the leader accepting responsibility, but again, I've never had human rights. Like, I can't say I'm an American. I've never had American rights ever. Like, actually, fucking literally. I'm still stuck in this disgusting third world fucking country. But America, again, has again, Shylocked the entire South America, the whole fucking thing. And America is the most arrogant, retarded, illiterate, fat society fucking ever. It's disgusting. And that's the last talking point for number 130. So number 131 with Liz Wheeler, who's a conservative podcaster on college campuses for 1 whole year. Have some nice tits, upload a YouTube video, people are going to watch them. Have educated, detailed discussions after watching hours and hours and hours of podcasts, researching your topics and describing them clearly. Well, that gets you 1 view, or maybe 5. These ones, I typically on these ones I maybe get 4 or 5 views. Music, I actually do like my own music, so I'll listen to that more than once. When I'm watching my videos again, I'm just making sure they upload correctly. Because anybody else that has people watching their videos will get comments or a live chat saying, your audio's down, this cut out over here. So I just watch my own shit to make sure, my lectures, just to make sure they fucking uploaded correctly. But, so I might clock in 3 or 4 views on this one. But, again, if you just have some nice tits, post up some pictures, some horny dudes will like to follow you. And if you have anything decent come out of your mouth, you'll get subscribers. 1 year and 251,000 subscribers. How? Fucking how? Fucking how? Oh, that's right, don't be Brad. Don't be Brad Boas. I'm pretty sure my last name would be Bose. But just don't be me. Don't speak correctly. Don't speak logically. Don't be direct. Well, if you do that, again, everyone's just going to steal your research. And if I'm alive to see that world motherfucking change, people must die for treason and people must die in prison for substantial fraud. Must. Must. But she says, they talk about, the old phrase, it's not, don't talk, or the sentiment, don't talk, it's not polite to talk politics or religion. That's self-censorship. That is literally at the ground root level of people not wanting to grow and to change, because they can't hear disagreement. They can't. It causes dissonance. They feel like it's a threat, and then they scapegoat people. That is what is going on every time I talk to anybody. 100 times. 100% of the time. 100 fucking % of the fucking time. But yeah, people should absolutely you should have enough brain cells to not talk politics because it doesn't make any sense. It's not real differentiation. But religion's more just history. But again, the reason people do that or don't want to talk about that is censorship. They don't want to be challenged on the beliefs they know are incorrect. The beliefs they know they are underdeveloped. They've never thought about, they never critically thought about. And then Patrick Bet-David again says his lovely family motto. He's got young kids, now he's got to have values besides driving fast cars and screaming capitalism and freedom. Remember, Patrick he says, we don't bully, and we don't get bullied. After he says it is what it is literally 2 times in the first 5 minutes. You're correct, Patrick, you just steal shit, man. You just fucking steal shit and go buy cars. $25 million motherfucking house. Jail's gonna be fun. Jail's gonna be fucking fun, you fucking cunt. Are you stealing from me? Yes, you are. Is it provable? Yes, it is. Prison. So enjoy your podcast while you fucking have it. But defiance is not critical thinking. Again, they talk, this bimbo bitch, she actually isn't that much of a bimbo, but didn't sound like a bimbo, honestly. She sounded like, again, a conservative talking point rattling head that wasn't too extreme. But she says, wearing a mask, her husband and her young daughter go to the library, and the librarian asks them to wear a mask, and the only thing they can say is the CDC told them to, and then she goes on about critical thinking. Like again, I've gone through all of the COVID data. Transmission is absolutely limited by vaccination. Every bit of the mask works. 25% for cloth, 50 for surgical, 80 to 95 for KN95s. But again, direct projection. Again, people are aware of me. Most of these people aren't even watching my videos. They're just, someone watches my video behind closed doors, and then they go talk about it with their friends. I watched Jordan Peterson say, I just watched one of his videos with some comedian, and he was like, you know, he's talking with the comedian, you know, your life's one of the most intentionally funny ones. It's an important differentiation. Yeah, motherfucker, it's gonna be funny when I throw you in fucking prison. That's gonna be the intentionally funny part. So everyone who's actually stealing from me actually gets fucking wrecked with this shit. As I get harassed by fucking lawyers who treat me like I'm just a diseased little animal. Oh, Brad's getting mad again. Brad's yelling again. Yeah, well, you guys got a fucking insurrection. Well, first of all, you got way back when you had fucking USA invading Afghanistan, blowing up their own buildings after the Riemann hypothesis had been fucking definitively solved. Then you got a fucking insurrection. Then you got a global pandemic. And now you have a fucking war. I wonder what the next plague's going to be, guys. When the king of Egypt doesn't want to release the Israelites and does overtly bad things, and it's remembered as history as plagues, it's more of just, again, it's really false association. I've got a fly in here. But, no, not as bad as my last apartment at least, which again, if a landlord doesn't uphold the lease, they can just, again, harass you and tell you that they're not going to let you in the front office and still charge you full rent, because they just do whatever the fuck they want. But, I forget what I was fucking saying. Oh, the story about, you know, her Liz Wheeler being oppressed for wearing a mask, and it's just, again, the narrative's not changing, it's not crumbling Russell Brand, it's just you fucking people are denying science, and there's no limit to that. There is no limit provable by 20 years, hundreds of thousands of interactions, hundreds. And she says, I'm passionately conservative. Find your passion. I am passionate about nothing. Like, actually, I know that word doesn't mean, I don't get like besides getting angry at children that just scream all day, I'm a pretty stoic dude. I wouldn't say I'm shy, but I'm, like I said, not super outgoing, not super bodacious, not super reserved, not super held back or anything. Just like trying to be a normal fucking dude. Literally 28 and a half today, the 10th? Yeah, March 10th, 28 and a half, and all I want is a fucking income stream and a family, which is impossible because of crime. And this worthless bitch, Elaine Bryan, won't do fucking anything. Michael DeWine won't do anything, again, besides slow down progress of science and say, well, cannabis isn't for everyone, based off of his extensive research career in science, this field of science. So, why are people passionate? It's because they're emotional. Why are people emotional? Because they're underdeveloped. That's why. It's always the same answer, always. So I don't think you should find your passion, I think you should lose it. Capitalism versus scapegoating, talking about being able to pay $6,000 for a medical procedure in my ear infection. Patrick Betts talking about how he's a friend who was brought to tears because one of his kids needed a medical procedure that he could easily pay $6,000 for, and if it had been a year earlier, flies flying around, sorry, about distracting me, but that he wouldn't be able to pay for it a year before that. And again, I have been doing these videos for 3 or 4 years. There's been a math subject on people's desks for 6 years. And I had a basic ear infection that should have been resolved in probably 7 to 10 days. Literally still not completely done. Why are there so many fucking flies again? I think more flies in this fucking place. Life, nothing works. Nothing. You can never commit an action in your life to improve your personal life. It doesn't fucking exist. There are no rights, freedoms, laws that are not enforced are not laws, and there was nothing in this country besides selfish, pathetic people that feel responsibility for nothing. Not My Carnage. But I couldn't pay. Again, I had $800,000 of cash. I remember being in an email, recorded by an email, in fucking Walgreens or Meijer, legitimately trying, and this is after I had neglected getting this thing treated for probably 8 months, strictly because of financial stress. Strictly and purely because of finances. So that's like eight months later, but then I go in there and I'm like genuinely like, should I fill this prescription for like $100? Because how do I make more money? I live in the same 7.9 inflation rate you do. How, on a fixed budget that can't change, how the fuck do I survive? I have genuinely no idea. So yeah, I totally feel for it. Capitalism, here in America with all our rights and freedoms and conservatism, somebody else can pay $6,000 for a medical procedure and I can't pay $100 and have an ear infection for 18 months. Give me a fucking fair fight. I'll put you fucking under today. Quote, Joe Biden directly caused the Ukrainian-Russian war. And that's Liz Wheeler? No. And she talks some analysis about Nord Stream 2 pipeline. I hadn't researched that one much. But what caused the war? What causes violence? Lack of education. What causes a lack of education? Every single university on this planet suppressing scientific information. History happens every day, and it's actually worse. Like, people in 50 years ago said, this is the weirdest fucking time in human history, and the people, you guys caused it. Who's you people lecturing? You people. Everyone that does this shit. Oh, you're going to travel to Ukraine and talk to everybody. Yep, that's still not going to do much. It's still not going to do fucking dick. What, your top podcast get 1 million views? There's 7.8 billion people on this planet, boys and girls. So I know on a personal level, you get those views, you start big cummies everywhere. Yo, cummies, big cummies. And then there's still 7.8 billion people that just need to be educated. So no, Joe Biden did not directly cause the Ukraine-Russian war. No. Again, shitty political speculation. The next war will be biological or viral. Patrick Bet David. Maybe if we just stop thinking there's going to be another war, there won't be. Maybe. Maybe if people grow up. Again, Patrick Bet David and Eric Weinstein, you guys should 69 each other and just come all over each other. You guys love carnage. I honestly bet. Open $1 million. I bet Eric Weinstein is jerking off to the war. Just coming everywhere. So I told you so, I told you so. The disconnected, intergalactic, dark web of what's the dissociated something? The disc? What the fuck that's supposed to mean? King word salad. Absolutely, Eric Weinstein is masturbating to the dead people. Absolutely. So maybe there won't be a next war. Hopefully, there probably will be just because of stagnation and everything. But this episode's gone pretty long, so probably no stories, nothing super relevant. A couple other random talking points related to Russia. Brittany Griner, a WNBA player, was arrested in Russia for having cannabis oil. I saw some headlines that people think it might not even be cannabis oil, they just planted it or something. But again, this is the official statement from Russia was because it's a narcotic, it's a drug. It's medicine, it's health. And so again, if you go to Singapore and bring cannabis, they'll kill you. You go to Russia, they'll arrest you for years. And good. You know how many fucking Singaporeans and Russians are fucking dying because people don't respect scientific law? A lot of them. And good. Fucking good. Americans first too, baby. Again, I'm not an American, I'm stuck in this thing. Stuck in this fucking hell that literally never stops. So again, we continue to say the same things. We must educate our species. Our species is literally instinctually denies scientific research, as proven by today. So, again, my name is Brad Bose. I'm being profoundly and extensively tortured. There is nothing I can do, there is nowhere I can go, and there is no one I can call. I will be tortured until the day that